Good afternoon. Horrible human beings, gaming back in the day, episode part 2. The first one was so nostalgic, it made me go down memory lane, especially specifically thinking about that Nintendo, back when you had to blow your games like you was giving them CPR because it was the only games you had, and that was the only way it's going to play. Do you know, like, them games made you halfway uh, computer programmer in order to get them. You was definitely like 20% a engineer, a technician, to learn how to make the game play after it started breaking down. You remember we used to play the game so hot. You used to play the game so long and it gets so hot you could melt butter on that bitch. But specifically thinking about the gauntlet, pun intended, that was Contra and all the other games from that era, I'm thinking that one of the first times that I played a game that I was like, damn, this game was epic in its scope, the gameplay, the everything. This was cutting edge. The cutting edge of 1989. So you can imagine. But it was Ninja Gaiden. And Ninja Gaiden, they really ain't give us guidance on the pronunciation, but it had the ninja. And back then, I'm telling you, there was nothing more deadly in the 80s than AIDS for gay people, crack, and ninjas. In any combination, all three of them would fuck you up. But the crazy thing was, Ninja Gaiden sold itself, but it had something called the cinematic cutscenes. That was like, after you beat a board, it don't just go to the next board or put a little message at the bottom of the screen. It had like the miniature movies in between to move the story along with the different characters and let you know what's going on. And Ninja Gaiden was one of those joints that, like, anybody who ever was a Nintendo fiend back in the day, we all, if you had the time, was fortunate enough, had them nights where you was with your man, because the 80s was all about two-player games and defeating the world with your man, or you was by yourself and you played the game all night long, literally from when the sun set. You get started at 8:45, you could brush your teeth, and by the time you finish, the sun coming up and your breath stank all over again. All night long you played the game. The shit, the adapter in the wall, hot. That shit hot like a hot like a mayonnaise jar somebody cooking up. But that's how good Ninja Gaiden was. And it was just, the things that ninjas get them, the situations ninjas find themselves in, and the way they have to extricate themselves from the plot, because this plot started with you taking down the government, but then they got two demon statues. Kind of find out this, the demon is actually still in the statue. Then you, at one point, you got to fight the demons coming out the statues, and that ain't even the end. That's like halfway through the game. Then it's the big reveal. You end up killing your own father because he's fighting in a possessed. All I remember was it was a red suit of armor, and your father was in there against his will. You had to kill him just to make it to the final boss, Jakku, who also was a martial arts master and a sorcerer at the time, because ninja and ninja magic go right together. And also, while we talk about it, that it always seemed like, because the main character name was Ryu Hayabusa, but whether you pronounce it Ryu, don't it always seem like Ryu is a common ass name in Asia? Like, that's the equivalent of Mike over here. Everybody, you may, if you grow up in a Japanese community, you might know 3 or 4 Ryus. That's little Ryu. Oh, that's big Ryu right there. Like, apparently the name Ryu goes great for video game characters who are on missions and possibly also throw fireballs. It was amazing. But Ninja Gaiden was the first game I can remember calling up to the video game store every day that summer, or at least for like a month and a half straight, asking, hey, y'all still got the game in? Not knowing how inventory working, like, yo, even if we sold out all of the game, that means it's selling good. We'll get more of that game in next week. But in my little mind, and I knew that I wasn't, I'm trying to remember, Ninja Gaiden was one of the few games that I owned because I was pressing on my mother, listen, I don't care if I got to become a Einstein genius, and I didn't, and get straight A's, and I didn't. I think I probably waited for a birthday, but I know that Ninja Gaiden was one of the games I owned, but I can remember calling up there every day like, hey, y'all have Ninja Gaiden? How much is it? It's $55.99, something like that. And then do it the next day, and then next day. And I then I'm thinking about it, that was stupid as shit, but, you know, when you were a kid, it kept the motivation up. Shout out to Nintendo Power. That way before I start reading the source, and the XXL, I was a Nintendo Power fiend, because the next day, if you couldn't have the game itself, boy, you'll read about the game the same way, shit, you read unsigned hype. You'd be knowing about all of the new games that's dropping. But that's how it was. And Ninja Gaiden was definitely one of the longer games. I was just talking to my man about it, and I was like, yo, you remember how long it took you to beat Ninja Gaiden? And he was like, yo, I never beat it. And he said, because I couldn't get that damn double jump. And that's another thing. As a ninja in the 80s, it wasn't just good enough to jump. You had to double jump to be able to make it. And that's for real. But that's definitely a classic. If you get a chance to get an emulator or retro, go ahead and check it out. Ninja Gaiden with Ryu Hayabusa. Horrible human beings gaming back in the day. Ninja Gaiden episode. Be well.